Hey everybody, this is Abby from Realistic Kitchen and Gardens. Today is Friday, October 17th. Just wanted to do a quick walkabout with my raspberries before we get started. We have had 2 very light frosts, but my raspberries are producing so well. The bees there's so many bumblebees, and yesterday when I picked, I think some of them stay out so late they get too cold and they kind of have to sit on a leaf and wait to warm up, the poor things. But I've been picking raspberries probably every other day now, so doing good there. We'll take a quick look at the turkeys. Hey turkeys! If you missed the last one or are new here, these are midget whites. They're roughly 2 months old. Yeah. Hi turkeys! I'm doing kind of a trial run with them to see if I like them for the size of them, if we like their meat, and if I do, I may end up getting a breeding pair next year. So I'm pretty sure this great big guy in the middle next to the bucket is a tom, and that one might be another tom. They're also called jakes when they're young. And then the other 2, I'm fairly certain are hens, but we'll see. Fully grown, live weight, they're usually like 18 to 24 pound toms, and then I think 10 to 12 pound hens. So a much better size carcass than what you get from a broad-breasted white. Head down to the garden. A lot of things are starting to really lock down and get ready to go to bed for the winter, which I don't blame them. 49 degrees right now, allegedly. All the grass is dry or drying. I should do something with the blueberries. I don't know if I need to put them to bed or not. There's 1, 2, I can't see the third one on camera, but I can see it in person. I think it's there. And then I'll start with this far one because I can see it. 1, 2, and I think this is the third one, but it's lost its leaves. That one might be done, unfortunately. I think this is, let's see, 17th. So we're a week after our first estimated frost date, which is accurate. We have had a frost and it's been probably roughly a week. It's been, again, a very mild frost. Like, I think it was still technically in the mid 30s. So it wasn't truly a hard frost. Still prepping to try to get the garlic in. It's been a struggle because what is free time with a 10-month-old? I did get, was this down last time? I think I did. I think it was. A is still dormant. Most of A is dormant. Row A over here mostly is dormant. The only thing kicking is volunteers and nasturtiums down this end. Nasturtiums are more cold hardy than I expected, quite honestly. This nasturtium's having a good time. Holy caterpillars, Batman. Look at all the caterpillars. This is Florence fennel. Look at you, actively munching away. Both of you. Yum, yum, yum fennel. Florence fennel, bulbing fennel. Very fragrant. I can pick it up already. But these should probably be harvested soon before I get a hard frost. They are not frost. They are frost tender. They are not frost hardy. And here's the 4th one, which is a little behind and very chewed. These were directly sown July 21st, I believe. July? Yeah, there's the tag there, July 21st. So I think if I do Florence again, I'll probably try to seed them a little bit earlier when I have the time. or if I have the space in the garden, I should say. Ooh, broccoli. I haven't been out here in a couple days. So this is blue ribbon broccoli. It is a hybrid that is sold by Gurney's Seeds. It's supposed to be a 55-day variety, which I think we're actually right on time. Let's see, that's what? 4. This one's itty bitty. Yeah, they're all heading. Look at that. This one has probably the worst of that, whatever it is, hollow stem or whatever it's called. That is a head, that is a head. You might not, but you're definitely the worst of it. You're split right down the middle. I can see through it. See the light through it? Poor thing. I'd be surprised if that one produces. This one has that hollow thing pretty bad too. I still haven't had a chance to look that up. I keep forgetting. Good, good, good. Broccoli. My son loves broccoli. Ooh, here's the very biggest one. Nice. Look at that. We got a ways to go for that to, I'm gonna say ripen, but that's not actually the word for it. Not correctly. And then we have the cover crop, which is presenting mostly as the groundhog radish. Actually, I want to see if I can pull one. I don't know if I'll be able to. Yeah, look at that. It's technically hello, focus. It's technically a variety of daikon radish, but this is small. This is not fully ripe yet. I'll just toss that on there. This is, I wonder if I could do radishes in between. Ooh, that would be an interesting companion. I wonder if I could do small radishes as companions, because this one broccoli is probably the least touched of all of them. To be fair, I have been spraying the bacterial spray BT to control caterpillars, but if you look at the plant in general, there's only a little bit of damage, and even on the really young stuff, it's not super chewed. So I wonder if radishes nearby would be a good, I'm gonna have to keep that in mind for next year. Anyway, I digress. So this is a cover crop to help loosen up the soil. It is a combination of the radishes, field peas, and hairy vetch, which I haven't seen any of in here. I haven't, you know, sat here looking for it, but I certainly don't see it in passing. But so the field peas help fix nitrogen. The groundbreaker radish obviously breaks up the soil. The radish will actually completely get killed off in the cold months and will leave a hole that water can go in and help break up the ground, plus the organic matter. And I'm pretty sure the hairy vetch is also either nitrogen fixing or just a green manure type portion. This is the section that had the celeries and the violas and the lupine, which I think made it somewhere. I saw it once upon a time, but I don't see it today, which I don't really blame it. I don't know it. I've never grown lupine. I don't know anything about it, but early jalapeno is still producing, weirdly enough. I really need to chop these okra down. I don't want to walk on that side. I'm gonna skip a row and walk over this side. The okra, red burgundy okra, is still going strong. Most of the pods you see on here are too big and woody to eat. This one's still edible. This one's nice and little and tender. That one, those two as well. Huh, I'll be damned. But most of these big ones are way too woody to eat, so I'm gonna leave them on the plant and see how long I can let them be there before I can harvest them to dry. And I want to see if I can make a poinsettia type decoration. Also, for those interested about Emerald Towers basil, still not really flowering. Like, this is the most flower there is to it. Funny enough. So trucking on. That light frost must have been like super duper light, like just enough to frost the grass type of light, because I really don't see, I don't even see that much damage. There's a little bit of frost damage, excuse me, on this bonfire salvia. Sorry, I couldn't think of it. This plant is so bright, this bonfire salvia. This one I can see like a torch at the house from the window, and it's kind of phenomenal. I mean, I can see the red of the cherry queen zinnia too at the house, but this is just like, woo! So I think I'll definitely grow, I might grow red salvia, I might not. I'm definitely gonna grow blue better salvia next year in the garden. Right now I have it in pots up by the house, right there, but it's really not happy in a pot. Not that most things are very happy in a pot compared to when they're in the ground. This is the road that the garlic is going to be in. This was where the cucumbers were. I have obviously taken the trellis down, the squash arch. Whatever butternut squash were not ripe yet, I pulled out, and I am going to feed to the chickens. So there. I have harvested 47 butternut squash. So with the garlic row, I basically just need to till up what's here, and then add, I have like a template mat that I kept from last year of this black fabric, and plant the garlic. Allegedly I was supposed to plant this like 6 weeks before the first frost, but obviously I missed that memo. All the flowers are still producing, perhaps except the calendula, but the calendula was probably smothered. So the wild violet petunias are still going, though scraggly, also probably smothered by grass. Lemon basil, which volunteered itself. Copper red straw flower, still one of my favorites at certain stages, but they're flowering well. I like this stage too, but alas, I shan't grow it again. They're so pretty. They're kind of like what you would think dragon eggs are like. Cherry queen zinnia and Strawberry Fields Globe Amaranth. I grew a lot of red flowers this year. I need to get better about growing something else. Look at all these buds yet to open for Cherry queen zinnia. Gonna have to wait for a hard frost to get rid of that. Lavender. This is Munstead, which you saw last time we had the video. There was probably this bud that had just opened, and I mean, it's gone. You couldn't harvest that for lavender buds. Same thing here. And then this is Hidcote. This is the same flower stalk from last time. So this is what I mean about this would be a great variety if you want to harvest lavender buds. And then Provence lavender, which still medicinally, still not my favorite, it's fine. The rest of this row is where there's an excavating company that is next to me, so you're hearing all the hullabaloo from that. Empty space from the zucchinis, and then this is where the trellis was with the butternut squash and pumpkins on this side. That side was where the garlic is going. That side was the watermelon and cantaloupe. And then this row needs a little, oh, and the lemon balm is back and happy and doesn't care, and then the catnip is doing the same thing as they do. This is the vacant section that was supposed to be which was supposed to be for parsnips, but that didn't work out. And I don't know how I managed this, but if you follow down that end and then come this way, I don't know what I did, but there's the path to come down here. That works, but then it looks almost like I accidentally moved the bed itself into the way of where the path would be. And excuse me, this path, this section that I thought was all path is actually, that's the carrot bed. So I need to retweak that. It's gonna be a pain in the butt, but that's the carrots. I'll show you when we get down there. This section is the empty spot from the spring onions. This is where Patterson was. God, I hate violas, or wild violets. I hate wild violets. For being so weird and small, they're very difficult to get out of the ground. And this was a scantily planted cover crop of groundbreaker to try to make it a little easier for the spring. I forget what I have going in the spring, but this is Promise storage cabbage, which I think is a 70 someday. There's a very loose head in there. It's starting to head up, it is. Just not there yet. They're doing good. This is probably, knock on wood, the best year so far I've had for brassicas, which the difference I'm doing this year is I'm not covering with insect netting, and I'm doing BT. So they must be benefiting from the full light apart compared to being confined within insect netting. And the BT is either more water, which it's diluted in water, that isn't a surprise, or just the fact it's not a drought year. So I'm not sure about that. Winter boar curly kale coming back decently. Purple moon curly kale doing excellently, one of my favorite varieties. This could certainly be harvested for a couple leaves. Washed, of course, because the BT, but BT isn't going to hurt you. It's just a bacteria that targets caterpillars. Spinach is still ready to harvest. I still haven't done it, but you know. This is Bloomsdale longstanding spinach from Holmes Seeds, Holmes, with some sweet alyssum and California poppies that have held over from the season that I had, the summer, when I had flowers in here. And then this is burgundy sprouting broccoli, specifically from Gurney's Seeds. This is not the same type of sprouting broccoli that usually is completely overwintered. This is a 70-day variety. So I think we're probably already, yep, we're already starting a little tiny head. And again, these don't really head like the same way Blue Ribbon does. This produces florets, small little florets that are beautifully purple and delicious and so cold hardy, so good. These plants are lodging a lot, but they're doing a lot better than last year. Ooh, look at this. This one's already heading quite a bit. We're producing a decent little bulb. Same thing here. Nice, good stuff. This is actually seeded and planted and all that at the same time as Blue Ribbon, so this is ahead of schedule from what I expected. They're looking really good too. Like, there's not that much insect damage anymore. Again, the BT is very, very helpful. I had my doubts, mostly because potential operator error, but and then we are down at Red Bull Brussels sprout. Took me a minute to remember its name. And we don't have that many armpits to produce Brussels, but we'll have to see. The plant is surprisingly short, so we'll see. The plants look good, but what am I looking at? You can't possibly be bolting already. You don't even have anything in your armpits. But these three plants are brutally affected by this, whatever it is. I still haven't looked it up. I need to. And then here's two more decent ones. These won't be producing sprouts until potentially after Thanksgiving, assuming everything works out correctly. And then we have Tundra storage cabbage, which is a Savoy. This is a variety that is technically supposed to overwinter. It's sold by Territorial Seeds, and it's advertised as 200-something day variety because you plant it, you seed it in the summer, plant it in the fall, and then you harvest it in the spring. And the savoying is supposed to help prevent frost damage. We'll see. That is, if you can hear the siren, that is our volunteer firefighter siren. It is not a tornado, I promise. You may not even be able to pick it up though, it is a bit windy. Anyway, so these guys look like they're starting to curl up heads too, so maybe we won't make it to overwinter. And then my 2 tiara cabbages, this one got horribly attacked this spring. And then this is fully filled out. I think we're technically at 55 days, so you might be ready. I'll see if it gets a little bit bigger because we love cabbage. And then these, this was supposed to be 2 more tiara cabbage, but tell me it's not broccoli. Go ahead, I'll wait. I don't see any heads though. These were planted, so for reference, those plants over there, wherever they are, was planted at, I think, 2 or 2.5 feet spacing. It's recommended 3 feet, where this was planted at probably 2 feet on center, would be my guess. Maybe 1.5 feet. I don't know. So they're definitely showing that it likes more space. Boscaro storage cabbage. It's just a red variety. I don't even feel anything. So these red cabbage always take a long time, but they are starting to display wider, broader leaves. So that's encouraging, because if you look at something like Promise, where they had those narrow little leaves and then they had these big wide leaves, and then they're starting to get their curled central head type leaves. So we're getting there. Baby steps. All this little amaranth, coral fountain amaranth. We'll have to see if that gets killed off in a frost. I'd be shocked if it wasn't a hard frost. And then we're back down to Sylvia Brussels sprouts. Just the teeniest little buds in the armpits. That one has the weird hollow stem thing. This one does not. And you're progressing a smidge faster. If you see that little bud in the armpit, that's what I'm looking at. We'll see. Brussels sprouts are tough to grow. I mean, brassicas are relatively easy. It's just the upkeep to keep other things from eating them. They themselves are not that needy. They're heavy feeders, but they're not needy per se. Not like indeterminate tomatoes that need so much from you to even do well. Stupid. I have not harvested from Carminat pole bean for probably almost a month. I should really cut them down and bring the trellis in and use it as mulch. Florenza sunflowers are well and done. Ooh, they're just the seeds that birds are starting to take, and I'll probably leave them out here for the birds. I wish I had documented better what Florenza sunflowers I liked, because I could have kept seeds. It didn't even cross my mind until after they were dead and dry, and I couldn't really remember. I could probably look back at videos if I really wanted, but I'm not that hell-bent. I got plenty more seeds. And Florenza is pretty easy variety to find seeds for. It's not some like hyper rare exclusive variety. The amaranth is definitely finishing off. I'm a little surprised the birds haven't started eating this, because this is full of seeds. Bonanza Mix marigolds, still carrying on. They are lightly frost tolerant, but I am starting to wonder if that frost I had was super duper light, like not even really a true frost. Champion of England shelling peas are still going. I mean, that it's kind of like an indeterminate crop in a way, or indeterminate tomato, I should say. Like, they'll produce and then they'll keep going up. Which is weird because I feel like the spring crop of Champion of England, I feel like that spring crop went all the way up and then produced everything. That I'll definitely have to go back and look at because I feel like it's not doing that this time. And then I harvested all my peanuts. If you did not see on, I think I put it on Facebook. I'm gonna have to look now. But I did post on, just finding more peanuts. I think I will find peanut pods, probably for the next year, is my guess. You can't, I don't think it's making enough noise, but I can feel the nuts inside shaking. I pulled out as many peanuts as I could find at the time, and I have planted some rhubarb. It is not the correct time of year to plant rhubarb. You're supposed to either split it or transplant it in the spring, but I went and saw a farmer friend who had gigantic rhubarb. And I said, if you have a couple crowns you're willing to split, may I have some? And he very graciously gave me two. There's this one and that one, which I may very well have planted upside down, but I don't think so. You can see the edges of the leaves, the stalks and things. I don't have high hopes for it making it to spring, but if it does, it's in a good spot. This is going to be the row that has celeries and things next year. The garden next year is going to be very different. I'm going to scale back on a lot of things now that I know what to expect because the soil was amended. Anyway, and then Flavorfest strawberries are doing well. This is another plant that I've had to spray with BT because the caterpillars have loved them. Luckily, the woodchuck is not in the garden anymore, who I think was eating it some. And the cold weather is keeping a lot of caterpillars from hatching or butterflies from fluttering around or whatever, but they're doing good. They're producing pretty good amount of leaves, new leaves, and I need to mulch these to help protect them from the cold. I also want to plant some chives in some of the spots. So I planted them 2, 4, that one's missing, 6, 8, that one's missing. So like different spots that are missing some. I want to plant things like chives and maybe something else. I need to be careful of where I put things though, so it's not, this is the north side, that's the south side. So sun is cast, as you can see, sun is cast from over here behind. So I need to put the short stuff on that side and the tall stuff over here so that shade isn't cast the other way. But yeah, I'm happy the strawberries are getting a good footing in now. I should really pull this mustard out. This is mustard that volunteered itself after I pulled my seed mustard out in the spring. Because it's starting to overshadow strawberries, which is no bueno. This mustard is sharp. Another little tiny strawberry making its way back. That one didn't make it. That one made it. That was a strawberry, but that's gone now. Sweet Alyssum still volunteering itself. There's another one down there I forgot to point out. And this is the green manure mix cover crop that is very scant on this stupid amaranth. I'm going to be finding amaranth for the rest of my life. At least it's easy to pull out. There's both spring and winter ryegrass, hairy vetch, more amaranth, lots more amaranth, crimson clover, and I think that's it. I think there's only the 4 or so species. So this end definitely did better than the other end. This is you can see the crimson clover a lot better. This is the one that flowers a bright red. The flowers actually look very similar to the Strawberry Fields Globe Amaranth, but it's a much larger, more stately plant. So the spring rye and I think the crimson clover will get winter killed, and the winter rye, and I think the hairy vetch will survive into the spring. And then when we're ready to plant, I can't remember if this is the row that's going to have no, this is the row that's going to have the squashes. So in the spring, or over winter, we're purchasing a piece of equipment that we tow behind our little tractor, and it is the weight that will terminate the crop. It's weight. So you can remove cover crops by digging them out, but that is a waste of time really, and it makes you lose dirt. Or you can use a board or weight to basically crush the stems and push them down, and you need just over 200 pounds of weight, which I am not that heavy, so that doesn't work. Neither is my husband for that matter, so that doesn't work. So we're going to use this, it looks like a roller. You fill it with water and you pull it behind the tractor and it will crush it down. So it will terminate the crop. I don't have to put the manual labor in to crush it down. And then I hear the turkeys. And then I can just plant right in there after it terminates. But you have to terminate it about 6 weeks before you want to plant in here, so that everything actually gets killed off and you have the root space. That would be an excellent thing to do for tomatoes. Next year, excuse me, I was thinking, because I endlessly think about the garden and covered crops and companion plants and all that. And one of the things I want to do next year with pole beans, because you can see the beans are very scant down at the ground, and this is all just grass that came up. I think next year I'm going to plant a summer cover crop buckwheat, which, yes, is the grain that you make flour out of. But the buckwheat plant it's great for insects, but it also is a great ground cover. It gets about 18 inches tall. If you've been around since the beginning, I did plant a buckwheat cover crop at the half-acre house, which was the very first year I did videos. So if you want to see buckwheat there, but we'll do it. I think I'll do that as a cover crop at the root, at the base of the pole beans once they're tall enough, because I won't have to worry about shade and all that. I digress endlessly. Hopefully those two pieces of video stitch together. I'm sorry if it's jumpy at the end otherwise. The only thing left I have to do is cover crops and get my garlic in, which is super late, but it should be fine. Garlic just goes dormant over winter anyway. So if you like this kind of stuff, please like, comment, and subscribe for more. And if you want more frequent updates, follow along Realistic Kitchen and Gardens Facebook page. Okay, thanks. Bye.